what's up guys? This is Church of Caboose, and for today's Destiny 2 video, we're going to be doing a top 5 and bottom 5 of things that we liked / didn't like about Guardian games, and giving some thoughts about what I would like to see in the future when we have future events, as I'm sure we're going to have more events happening throughout our good old Destiny 2 history. Before we get all into that though, if you do enjoy the video, make sure you click the like button. Also, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'm doing a lot more thoughts and opinions, mostly because Season of the Worthy is really bland, and I got raid guides and exploits and farming and quest hacks, all kinds of goodness. So make sure you guys are keeping up to date with the channel by clicking subscribe, and because the YouTube algorithm is really weird, you might want to think about hitting the alarm button, because as other folks put it, subscribing means nothing anymore. Alright, and I also have a couple of questions for you guys. I am trying very hard to upgrade some equipment I have for the channel. So the first thing I'm looking at is a mic, maybe some dedicated computers, that kind of thing. If you guys have thoughts about what I should be looking for, or things that you would suggest that I look into getting, feel free to comment them down below or in my Church and Friends Discord server. And then lastly, before the video, because I didn't want to make a whole separate video for it, we now have the new community event that will reward us with Fellwinter's Lie. I am a Destiny 1 veteran, so I cannot wait to have this exotic machine gun, and there's a little thing I thought I'd just let you guys all know about. To get the quest, just go to Mars, and you might notice we have to do something like 3 million-ish Seraph Tower heroic completions. Before you get, oh my gosh, 3 million tower events, that's so many. It's not that bad. It's not as bad as it could be. It's Guardian completions. So for example, say you and 8 others, so 9 people, get to successfully complete one of those heroic Seraph Tower events. You have 9 ticks towards the progress. See what I mean? So if you have 9 Guardians, it's 9 completions, as opposed to 9 Guardians getting 1 completion. Hopefully that makes sense, and now let's actually get on into the video. Alright, so we're going to start off with the top 5 things I liked the most about Guardian games. This is all my opinion, so if you have differing opinions or you put things in different orders, feel free to comment those ideas down below, and I'll try to get to your comments as fast as I can. Alright, number 5. So on our list, we're going to start with the bottom. Number 5. This event was better than basically repraising, or I guess reinventing, the Infinite Forest for the 100th time. Because like if you had the Revelry, if you guys remember the Revelry from about a year ago, it was a lot of basically just running through the Infinite Forest and doing a different version of the Infinite Forest. Then we have those Halloween events, which is the Festival of the Lost, and they did the same thing with the Infinite Forest. So I've really enjoyed not having this event being the Infinite Forest for the 100th time. Number 4, this event allows you to have at least some class pride, similar to, like school or school pride, or pride for a specific sports team. You got to have some class pride, and I thought that was kind of cool. And the reason why it's number 4 was because it wasn't as cool as I thought it would be, but hey, at least you got to do some sort of a class pride kind of a thing. Number 3, older activities are more viable. I like that a lot, because for example, forges, I didn't really do jack squat with forges once Black Armory was done. I didn't care enough to try and do anything for the blacksmith title. I only really hopped into there if my wife was playing and she's like, hey sweetie, can you help me with something with the forge? And I'd be like, oh my god, fine, because I don't like forges. I do not like forges. But having the forges as an option for this event, it's different. It's kind of fun. It's like, yay, playing forges. And then by the time the event was over, I was like, oh, playing forges. All right, number 2. We were encouraged to play with other people in our class. I mostly liked this aspect of Guardian games because I thought it was kind of fun. That normally, you might do a raid or do a strike or something with like Hunter, Warlock, Titan, some kind of a mixing of the two. And this event encouraged us to play with your same class. And I was like, oh, I get to see what it's like to try and run through a thing with 3 codes of the Juggernauts. Like, that's kind of fun. And just trying to find other Titans was also pretty interesting. If you didn't pick it up, I was a Titan main for this whole thing. And not because Titans looked like they were winning. I've been a Titan main since Rise of Iron and Destiny 1. So I was one of the few people, at least in my opinion, one of the few people to stay true to my class for this event. Then, in number 1, this event increased players' knowledge of their supers and abilities. All those bounties, while some of them are ridiculous, and we're going to get to more talk about the bounties later, the bounties at least made you do things like smoke bomb kills. I know that's weird. I that was dumb, but again, we'll get to that stuff later. Doing things like multiple hammer charges within a single life. That kinds of stuff. And I just thought it was really cool that we were encouraged to do all these different ability and super stuff that you probably wouldn't necessarily intentionally be doing otherwise. And having all these bounties made us be like, ooh, let's look at my loadouts. Let's look at my mods. What can I do to get more supers? And I loved doing the Void class with the grenade launcher super regen thing, and I ran around the mountaintop all day. That was really fun. I really liked that, and that's why number one was encouraging players to play with their abilities and to increase their knowledge of their exotics, all that goodness. Because if we think about it, we're supposed to fight the darkness soon, right? I think that's going to be in the fall. The darkness is supposed to be a one mother of an enemy, and I imagine we're going to have to really use lots of abilities more than just gunplay. A lot of folks just rely on the gunplay, and that's all we're going to leave with that number one. So those are the top 5 positive things of Guardian games. So now let's talk about my 5 least favorite parts of Guardian games. So in number 5, I thought it was so dumb that we couldn't just get locked into one character. I was totally expecting day one of Guardian games. It's like, oh right, they're gonna give me this thing. Do I want to be a hunter? Do I want to be a titan? Or do I want to be a warlock? And that's the only character that contributes progress towards the laurels in the games. Not that you couldn't only play that one character for the whole event, just that was the only character that you could do Guardian game stuff. Because to me, that made the most sense. Because we all know Destiny folks, when it comes to getting things like loot, we're going to do the most efficient way possible. And what's the most efficient way possible? It's almost always having 3 characters. So it's super weird to me that Guardian Games was locked. Like, it was not locked. It was just, whatever you feel like. Which kind of tied into the loot, but we're gonna get into that later. Number 4, auto collect did not happen in forges or strikes or like patrol zones, and when they were in those large locations, that was just really dumb. I thought it's so stupid. I thought it limited how you got to play. You usually had to be more aggressive. Titans were more rewarded for being more up close and in your face, because Titans, you got all the punching and all that stuff. And so I was almost always like, I guess I could try to do all this stuff with like a shotgun or a recluse or something, because I don't want to have to go hunting down those laurels, and then they throw some bounty at me being like, get hammer throw kills from a mile away, Guardians. I was like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
And it took me forever. I lost so many of those laurels trying to get super kills and then like running to go and get those things that they're sniping the guys. But I'm moving on. I thought it was so dumb. Auto collect was not for everything, and it's only for Gambit and Crucible. Number 3, the loot. I thought the loot was pretty dumb. It would not have been that bad if Eververse did not have hold the key to every single piece of gear besides the shells, the class items, and the heir apparent. Which, by the way, the heir apparent doesn't even have a story tied to Guardian games. I'm pretty sure that it should have been something like a Season of the Worthy exotic that you either got from like this community event I mentioned before. Granted, I would much rather have the Winter's Lie, so I'm not really mad about it. It's just weird. We had this obvious Cabal themed gun. It's straight up the miniguns from those like Colossuses and those bigger dudes that they run around with. And we're in Guardian games, it's like the Olympics. I just thought that was really weird. We only had 5 items of loot we could get without it coming from Eververse, and Eververse really amped up, I felt like, their Bright Dust requirements, probably because a lot of the bounties required you to get Bright Dust, which ties me into number 2, the bounty system. Oh my god, it drove me nuts. The first, I have to like rescind my words, eat a little bit of crow. I think the video where I talked about what you need to know for Guardian games, I was like, hey, initial thoughts, this is kind of cool. And I think a lot of people felt like it was kind of cool, because we're like, oh yeah, we get to do things with our supers, and that's great. And then with time, we have bounties for warlocks and hunters that were bugged. And then hunters had some really, really weird ones. And the only reason I know is because 1, I watched other people's YouTube videos, and 2, I was that guy using 3 characters for the first week to get heir apparent done, and then once it was over, I only played on my Titan. Like, hunters would have a bounty where you have to get final blow kills with a smoke bomb. if you are not a hunter that's watching this, smoke bombs are almost never used for killing. They're typically like stunning. Like they're like little mini flashbangs, basically. You throw them, and a couple of them do like a poison burn effect, but it's almost never enough to kill even a little red bar unless you were to do some kind of other damage by tapping them with the primary or something like that. So like, I just thought those bounties were really weird. Warlocks had an issue with the Devourer bounty. I don't remember exactly how it was, but the point was not only were the bounties endless, tons and tons of bounties, some of them didn't even work correctly. Otherwise, like there was just tons of bounties. I thought it was really stupid. I thought the medal idea was kind of cool, but then the more I played it, the more I was like, this is just a bounty, only longer. That was what the medals turned into. We'll talk about the future stuff here soon. Number one, finally, my least favorite part about this whole thing, even though I was a Titan and we won the whole time and we could talk on for days about why, the scoring system was weird. Like, I would load into the tower because of quarantine. It wasn't too uncommon for me to load into the tower right around 11 a.m. I'd be like, oh look, we're already winning by a metric butt ton. And some folks are like, oh, it's because of sandbagging. People are saving their bounties and turning them in right away, or their medals, excuse me. And that could very well be the case, which leads to another part of the scoring. Like, when people are looking at these flags, they want to feel like they have a shot. So why can't we at least have maybe had the flags not show or reflect who's winning for like an hour or 2 hours instead of, I think it started off 15 minutes into the day, the new reset, it would show, and then I think they switched it to 30 about halfway through the games. But like, why can't we have that wait for an hour or two? Because imagine being someone who's not a Titan, like, or someone who maybe doesn't care a ton about the loot and stuff. You walk into the tower and you're like, ooh, everything's real close. I might as well just look and see what medals are for today, because maybe I was thinking about playing that stuff anyways, and I'll just do the medals because look, it's all close. Like, that would have inspired a lot more inter-class, I guess, participation of this whole event. So, and then I thought it was also really weird. I know I'm saying it's really weird a lot. This event was just weird, guys. It's a pretty bad event. With the whole scoring thing, probably the most bizarre part of the whole deal was having only certain activities contribute for medals or for your class each day. Like, we already knew most people that are hunters tend to dominate their time inside of Crucible, and the other classes tend to do more of their other stuff, so it depends more on their preferences. So we already knew we could potentially, if everything was completely even, have 33% of the population really only care about Crucible. But yet, Crucible only showed up once every, I think it was 3 or 4 days, and each day it showed up, it would still only be just under half of the medals for the day. Because if you think about it, you'd have the 3 medals for one activity, 3 medals for another activity, so that's 6. Then you'd always have the bounties gold medal, so you had 7. So the day of Crucible, you'd only have 3 out of 7 of those medals for Crucible. Like, that just seems really unfair to a large portion of the community that just doesn't enjoy doing anything besides PvP, which to me makes a whole lot of sense with hunters. Like, why would a hunter, when the bounties suck, they're being asked to do things that would take them probably a little bit longer as a hunter, and they had their medal value nerfed, why would they participate in an event when they really don't care about playing almost 90% of the stuff that count for their score? So it was just really weird. You can't just be like, hey, I'm going to play Crucible, and have something like every activity completed gives you some sort of progress. Now, things that are shorter like Crucible could be weighted less, and things that are longer like a raid could be weighted more. That's a whole other kind of a discussion. I'm just saying, it's really weird how they did the whole scoring system. I would like to now finish this video by just sharing some thoughts I have from things we could maybe learn from this event and to apply them to future events, whether it's future Guardian games or if maybe a faction rallies somehow ever come back, just for future things that we might have in the future. Man, I'm saying future a lot. Alright, so one thing I would really like to see is more of a seasonal and a story tie from the event to whatever DLC seasonal thing is going on right now. For example, it was super weird that when we were doing all these destination deals, there was no boost for doing Seraph Towers while working on your destination medals. You could just go to the binding well, do a couple of tier 3s. I believe most people could finish all their destination medals in 2 runs of a tier 3 blind well, and then you're done and you move on with your life. I only tried that out at the very end, and so I'm sorry I didn't get a video out with that for you guys. My bad. I'll try to do better on that in the future. But the whole point of events, to me, should be more tying in with what's going around. That's what makes events kind of cool. I'm sure this was supposed to be like an Olympics kind of a thing, and being like in the randomness is supposed to be like, hey, look, it's the Olympics, because like we do our normal lives, we're like, hey, look, it's the Olympics. Like, it doesn't tie in to our regular life, so maybe they're going for that. But if you're gonna not have it tie in, you gotta at least nail the rest of the event, and this event was pretty bad. I also want to see in the future to have Ikora have these bounties. We're about to fight the darkness again. I think I mentioned this earlier, but we're going to fight the darkness, right? So why hasn't Ikora been trying to build us all up to be more attuned with our light and able to fight the darkness instead of this random ass 3-week long event thing that we all want to bash our skulls in because of how many bounties there are, relying on making us use these abilities. Now, hopefully Ikora might get some of these kinds of bounties in the future. I'm probably going to have someone in the comments be something like, well, Ikora is just off there being real depressed. She's still recovering from Cade and is like contemplating the meaning of life and is all but useless right now. And you know what? To some degree, I gotta say, tough titties. Get over it. Like, we need you, Ikora. You gotta help us out, girl. The darkness is coming. Cade's been gone for 2 years. Snap out of it. That's all I had to say about Ikora just apparently still being really depressed. And then finally, I just want the future events to be more engaging, whether it's by giving us a reason to play for the loot, something that's just more fun to play, and something that can't be exploited that well. I'm so tired of so many things where Destiny puts out a deal and it's like ribbon cheese, or they put out this event and people are like, ooh, look, I can delete a character a whole bunch of times. Like, that all is just so annoying. Can we just have something pop up where it's thought of, as people think through it, the Bungie's like, yeah, people can't exploit this one. And the only ones that can exploit it are those folks that have PC hacks and are the scum of the Destiny universe because they ruin Trials with all of their shenanigans. Alright guys, thank you all so much for watching. If you got more input on what you would like to see, whether it's like, yeah, I would put those things in a different order, I wish you had added this, these are things I liked, didn't like, let's just talk about it. I'm curious to see how we can maybe help Bungie to make a better event, because we may have in fact been a part of why Bungie fixed Watercress. So let's not pretend, even though we are only a small community with church and friends right now, that they aren't listening in some facet of the world. We're going to pretend like it was mostly us that got Watercress fixed. We're just going to keep that one as a victory for us. So let's work together to make these events more fun and enjoyable. I am Church of Caboose. Have a great week and happy grinding, y'all.